If you are an E6 with dependents stationed in Hampton Roads, the Navy pays you $2,559 a month for housing. You never see it. It shows up, it goes out, and somebody else keeps it. 3 years at that station. That is $92,124. At the end of it, you PCS, and you own nothing. Nobody stole anything from you. That is just what happens by default, and the default is designed for people who leave every 3 years. Here is the part nobody has told you. You are holding the single best asset buying benefit in the country, and most people who have it use it once at 34 for the house they plan to retire in. Quick thing before the numbers. I am Mario's avatar. He writes these, I read them, and that is how this channel publishes every week instead of whenever his calendar allows. The words, the numbers, and the opinions are all his. So here's the bottom line up front. The median first-time buyer in America was 30 years old in 1990. Last year it was 40. You can be 24. And that head start is worth more than it sounds like. Realtor.com ran the numbers this March against the panel study of income dynamics, and households that bought by age 30 were 22.5% wealthier by 50 than the ones who waited until their 40s, about $119,000 controlling for income and education. That is the whole reason veterans own homes at 78% while the civilian rate is 65.1%. But buying early is only the first move. The play is 3 moves, and almost nobody runs all 3. Buy what you can actually afford, which is not what you get approved for. Do not sell it when you PCS, then do it again at the next station. That is it. That is the entire thing. Run it twice, and by 30, you are holding 2 properties, one of them with a tenant paying it down, while the median American your age has not bought their first one and will not for another 10 years. A third one is a different conversation, and I will show you exactly where the benefit runs out, because it does run out and nobody mentions that part. Let me walk each move with the real numbers for real cities here, because there are places where this does not work, and you should hear that from me. Start with the first move, because it is where most people go wrong before they have made any other mistake. A lender will approve you for a number. That number is not advice. It is the edge of what the math allows, and living at the edge of what the math allows is how a good idea turns into a bad 3 years. Here is what that looks like in 3 real cities, all of them inside the same commute. Portsmouth. Detached median in July was $290,000. VA loan, nothing down, 6.3%. That payment with taxes and insurance runs about $2,288 a month. An E6 with dependents has $2,559 in BAH, so that house pays you $271 a month to live in it. An E4 first tour, $2,229 in BAH, $59 a month out of pocket to own a house at 24 years old. Hold that number, $59. Norfolk. Detached median in July was $330,000. That is rain, July 2026, waterfront, and new construction excluded. VA loan, nothing down. Funding fee financed at today's 6.3%. Principal and interest is $2,087. Taxes run about $338. Insurance call it $150, total $2,575 a month. Your BAH is $2,559. You are $16 a month out of pocket. Not $16 a month cheaper than renting. $16 a month to own the building. Virginia Beach, same buyer. Detached median $470,000, 12 days on market, 99.3% of original list. Beautiful market, same loan, same rate. That payment is about $3,527. Against the same $2,559 in BAH, you are writing a check for $968 a month out of your own pocket. Every month. For 3 years, that is $34,848 that does not come back. Same person, same benefit, same week. One of those is a portfolio, and the other one is a slow bleed. And a lender will approve both. Now, I want to be careful here because rent is throwing money away is a line agents use, and it is not quite true. Rent buys you flexibility. Rent means the water heater is not your problem. If you are on a 15-month unaccompanied tour, rent. That is the right call, and Mario will tell you that on a call. What is true is narrower, and it is worse. Renting or living in base housing for 20 years, moving every 3, while holding a zero-down benefit the entire time, is not throwing money away. It is leaving an asset on the table that you were handed for free. So you buy in Portsmouth or Norfolk at 24, and your housing costs you somewhere between nothing and $59 a month more than the allowance you were already getting. 3 years go by, orders come, and this is the exact moment where almost everybody undoes the whole thing. The reflex is to sell. You are leaving, so you list it. Your agent gets a commission, you get a check, and it feels like you did something responsible. Look at what you actually did. Over those 36 months, you paid about $92,692 in housing payments, and $12,517 of that came back to you as principal. That is not appreciation. I am not going to guess at appreciation, and neither should you. That is just the loan getting smaller. Compare it to the alternatives. Base housing, over the same 3 years, you forfeited $92,124 in BAH and hold nothing. A 3-bedroom rental in Norfolk at around $2,250, you paid $81,000 and hold nothing. So on pure cash, buying and renting come out close. Close enough that if the monthly number is all you look at, the whole thing looks like a wash. It is not a wash, and the reason is what you are standing on when you leave. The renter leaves with nothing. You leave with a $330,000 asset, a $325,000 balance, and a 6.3% loan that somebody else is now going to pay down for you. Selling does not give up the equity. It gives up the tenant. And the tenant gets better at their job every year, because amortization is backloaded in your favor once you are past the early years. 3 years in, that loan is $12,517 smaller. 6 years in, $27,630. 10 years in, $52,767. And by then, you are not the one making the payments. That is the whole reap the benefits over time part, and it is boring, and boring is the point. You do not do anything. You just refuse to sell. 3 things let you keep it, and they are simple. 1. VA requires you to occupy the home as your primary residence within 60 days of closing, and genuinely for at least 12 months. Do that and you are clean. 2. Once you have satisfied occupancy and you have orders, you convert it to a rental. You do not have to refinance out of the VA loan. The 6.3% stays exactly where it is. That is the part people assume is not allowed, and it is allowed. 3. Get a signed 12-month lease before you leave, not a handshake. A lease with the security deposit documented. That piece of paper is what makes the next move possible. So now you have a house in Norfolk with a tenant in it, and you are reporting to a news station where you need somewhere to live. Most people assume the benefit is spent. It is not. And this is the move that turns one house into a portfolio. Your VA entitlement is not one house. It is a dollar amount, and you almost certainly did not use all of it. The 2026 conforming loan limit is $832,750. Your maximum guarantee is 25% of that, which is $208,188. That Norfolk house at $330,000 used $84,274 of it, which leaves you $123,914. Your zero down buying power at the next station is roughly 4 times whatever guarantee you have left. That is about $495,655. Read that again. You bought a $330,000 house in Norfolk at 24, you kept it, and you can still buy up to about $500,000 at your next duty station with nothing down. That is second-tier entitlement. It is not a loophole, and it is not new. It is just not explained to anybody, because most lenders meet you once and never see you again. When you apply for that second loan, the underwriter looks at the Norfolk mortgage as a debt you are carrying, unless you can show income against it. With a signed lease, they will credit you 75% of the rent, not all of it. The missing 25% is their allowance for vacancy and maintenance, and that is a fair assumption, not a trick. So $2,250 in rent gives you $1,688 of offset against a $2,575 payment, which leaves $888 landing on your debt to income ratio. That is the honest ceiling on this whole strategy. The rental does not fully carry itself in year one. That $888 is what decides whether you can buy again immediately or whether you wait a year for rents to catch up to that payment. Anybody who tells you the houses pay for themselves from day one is selling you something. And it does run out. Here's exactly where. Say you buy that second house at $450,000. That uses $116,212 of guarantee on top of the $84,000 from Norfolk. Call it $200,486 of your $208,188. You have about $7,700 left, which supports a zero down purchase of roughly $30,800, and there is nothing in Hampton Roads at $30,800. So the VA benefit run this way realistically carries 2 properties at these price points, not 5. Anybody showing you a chart with 5 doors on it and a VA logo is not doing the math. Property 3 is still available to you, it just is not free. You put money down. or you finance it conventionally, which you can now actually do because you have 2 years of rental history and real equity, and that is a completely different conversation with a lender than the one you had at 24, or you sell the first one, restore that entitlement, and roll it forward. All three are fine. None of them are zero down. Know that going in. There is one more cost people miss. Your funding fee on the second loan is not 2.15% anymore. Subsequent use with nothing down is 3.3%. Put 5% down and it drops to 1.5%. On a $400,000 purchase, that is the difference between about $13,200 and about $5,700. None of that kills the play. All of it changes the timing. And timing is the part people get wrong when they only hear the good half. Let me be straight about who should not do this. If your tour is 15 months, do not buy. You will not hold it long enough to clear the transaction costs, and you will be selling into whatever market happens to exist that month. If your debt to income is already tight, adding $888 of unoffset rental payment is going to hurt you at the next station more than the asset helps you. Run it with a lender first. If you're not willing to be a landlord from 2,000 miles away, or to pay a property manager 8 to 10% to be one for you, this is not a strategy. It is a second job you did not agree to, and if buying in Virginia Beach at $968 a month over your allowance is the only version of this you would be happy with, then the honest answer is wait. Buy in Norfolk or Portsmouth or Chesapeake now, and buy the Virginia Beach house later, out of the equity, when it is not eating $1,000 a month of your pay. The strategy is not buy a house, it is buy the right house at the right price and refuse to sell it. These are Mario's words, so let me finish the way he wrote it. I bought my first house young, and I have PCS'd with a family, and I have used this benefit myself. I know what it is to make a decision this size on somebody else's timeline. 8 years selling real estate in Hampton Roads, and a Navy veteran, which is the only reason I know this play exists at all. Nobody teaches it. You pick it up from the chief who already did it. My why is Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. The house you buy at 24 is not the house you retire in. It is the first thing you hand down. If you want to know what your number actually is and which of the 5 cities it works in, book your PCS call. Everything you need is in the description below. Adapt and overcome.